On this week's episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast, David and I took 3 takes to get it right. We're talking about ClickFunnels and Funnel Hacking Live 2020, and we're also talking about Tony Robbins, Matt Foley, and a potato gun. All that and more on this week's episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast. Welcome in to episode 032 of the Modern Dealer Podcast. My name is David Farmer with Entice, and with me, as always, is David Bertoncini. How you doing, David?
I am so good, man. I'm jacked up, excited, just happy to be here and happy to be back on the Modern Dealer Podcast here, home in Tampa.
Yep, MDP Studios.
Yay! I was in Nashville, just returned from that, a little bit chilly up there, and we're at 70 degrees today, and there are like 40 degrees there.
Wow.
So
Well, I think we're going to have 40-degree weather again in a couple days.
I must have brought it back with me from Nashville.
Probably.
My apologies, my fault, but excited about today's stuff. I've been waiting a long time to talk about this episode 032, getting into something that I geek out to, and David's recently geeked out to.
Absolutely.
So going to get into the good stuff here shortly. And how are you doing, sir? You feeling better?
I am feeling better. You know, last couple of weeks I've had some sort of bug. I think it might have been allergies. It might have been some sort of flu. I feel like I'm over it now. It's gone. I don't think it's completely gone from everybody at the office here. One of my guys had to take off today because he was not feeling well. Hopefully it's not the coronavirus.
That would not be good.
No.
I'm leaving now. Goodbye. I'm out. Yeah, that's some serious stuff there. That's scary epidemics, but don't want to get into too much about that because we'll get off track as you and I tend to. Because hey, we're fun, we're ADD, and
exactly.
a lot of good stuff we cover here at the Modern Dealer Podcast. And today we're going to get into some
really cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
Some stuff that is not automotive specific, but I think that it has a lot of relevance for our listeners. You know, one of the things that I pride myself on, first being an entrepreneur, then being somebody that's in the car business, and that's really what we're going to be talking about today is a lot of entrepreneurial stories and journeys, and where you were the last couple days. I imagine you were probably surrounded by 4,000 or 5,000 entrepreneurs, and was able to hear a lot of great stories from a lot of people that's utilizing this platform of ClickFunnels. And that's so I know before we get too far into, I know that we are planning on doing some traveling ourselves together next week. Going to be jumping on a plane, going to Las Vegas for NADA 2020. Excited for that. I'm just going to do a quick in and a quick out. I'm going to fly in on a Friday. I'm going to come back on Sunday. So we're going to have all day Saturday to be able to connect with people in the industry. If any of our Modern Dealer Podcast viewers are there, please reach out to us. Leave a comment in the comment section below. We'd love to connect with you while we are out there. We're going to do a little live recording there.
Yeah, we got a live recording. We're going to be doing some interviews. So we are meeting up with a couple of other marketers, digital marketers, meeting up with some dealership CMOs, CFOs, general managers, owners. Wherever you're at in the store. If you're going to be in Las Vegas, NADA, we'll be at the 360 booth, broadcasting there with our good friend Jay Smithwick and his team. He's going to have 2 booths, so we got to figure out which booth we're at.
I think we're going to spend a little bit of time at both. So he's got he's going to be having that big 28-foot booth at both of the rooms that are both of the conference rooms for NADA. So that's pretty exciting for him.
Do you remember what NADA said to him? Like, David, you sent an order, Jay, you sent an order for two. We've never sold 2 to the same vendor, and he's like, yeah, I need 2. Yeah. We're like, what?
That's a cool idea.
So he's taking up a lot of real estate there, but he's got a lot of product and a lot of stuff to share. If you guys look back a couple episodes, we were broadcasting out of his 360 booth. It was awesome. I mean, I literally had to put sunglasses on. That thing is so bright, which you need. And it's just good photos, good quality photos. Somebody was asking me about for their industry of, what to use that for. But we'll go down a whole nother path on that. But we'll stay on track with a little bit of coffee check, man. I've got some Kiowa coffee today.
Kiowa coffee today, good stuff. Another entrepreneur. Now they are a Tampa-based company, are they not?
They are a Tampa-based company.
That's cool.
So there's 2 locations within about 6 blocks downtown St. Pete. So I guess if you can spit there, you can put one there.
There you go.
But they are delicious, local brewed, roasted coffee. All about supporting the local gigs. Speaking of local gigs, the St. Pete Pier is actually opening up.
Is it really? Wow.
Not really soon, but
Yeah.
one of my friends that's an entrepreneur got a space there, which the bidding, there was over 100 applicants for like 6 small
Wow.
locations. It was a kiosk that they got. But just keeping it local, keeping it real here in the Tampa Bay area. But yeah, Cow Coffee, you're checking in with what? The typical
got dark roast Starbucks, kind of one of my norms. I think last week we did Pike Place. I did a little recap
on the thumbnail.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was
good
pretty
old.
cool.
We're talking about the original Starbucks and the
Yep.
25,000 locations, and you know how that guy started that $1 billion industry in the 70s, and everybody laughed at him like,
Yeah.
"You're gonna sell coffee? Good luck, coffee boy."
Yeah, unbelievable, right?
Unbelievable empire he built
Yep.
with us being an entrepreneur. And of course, our dealers, you got to look at yourself as a dealer, owner, operator, as you are an entrepreneur yourself. So
yeah.
that's what this whole episode 032 is going to be talking about: ClickFunnels and how, as a dealer, utilizing different things that I took back from this event that we're gonna cover, and how that this does tie in with the car business, and how we can show you how to utilize some platforms that are already existing in your hands.
So, so that's our main topic today is going to be ClickFunnels, and where you went to Funnel Hacking Live 2020. That was where was that located again?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee. Beautiful area for sure.
A cool town that was, man.
Yeah.
My parents used to live in Tennessee and Crossville, which
Oh, did they really? Okay.
used to could.
Yeah.
Used to could.
Yeah.
It's very Tennessee slang there, a little
Yeah.
bit of that lexicon. But I'd never been to Nashville, went there, blown away. Amazing town, great
Yeah.
downtown. They had like a Broadway strip which had nothing but bars and restaurants, but everywhere, live music everywhere. Every hotel lobby had somebody playing guitar and singing, and it is the LA of country music.
Yeah, for
real,
right?
That's really what it
Yeah.
is. It is the Los Angeles of country music. And I met, actually, I was telling you earlier about a guitar player, musician that was amazing voice, sang 10 of his original songs. I'm like, wow, you're great, man. And I checked out he's like, yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and no YouTube or anything like that. And I was like, man, you're an
Amazing.
excellent musician. You're a horrible marketer. Terrible. And he looked at me like I just discovered fire. He's like, what do you mean? He goes, you're right. I am a terrible marketer.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you don't need to take because he's talking about taking piano lessons. He's almost 40 years old. I'm like,
Wow.
you don't need to learn anything more about music. You need to learn all about marketing and get yourself out there.
You know what's really interesting about that too is so we will have to let our audience know that this is actually the third time we've recorded the first segment of episode 032, our first recorded section. We did not have the audio synced up properly, so a lot of this stuff is kind of a rehash for us, which we like to kind of keep it just fresh and spontaneous, but we're going to kind of rehash through a few things. So what we're talking about in that first segment is the strength of the platform of YouTube itself and how it really has become a career path. Talking about people that's in the music industry now, they could create their own career just by creating a YouTube channel that has a certain amount of users.
At the event, they had talked about Justin Bieber and how he basically became famous all through YouTube.
Yeah.
And what he did is he just covered, and he had a really good strategy that nobody knows about that I'll share.
Yeah.
Was he would take the most popular song that was out there, and he would
Do a
got
cover?
the most views, and he'd do a cover of it,
Mm-hmm.
and he would tag that song and just basically do the exact same thing. The title of the song, whatever it was, then he put cover in parentheses.
Yep.
So he would get nearly equal amount of views as
Brilliant idea.
Super brilliant idea.
So there's
2007.
Yeah,
2008
right.
He was doing that.
Yeah, so it was YouTube was brand new at the time.
Yep.
So that's a great, that's a great entrepreneurial story from somebody that went from from nowhere to gigantic. But what I think is really cool is how you can take somebody that's nowhere and just bring them up where they're not super famous. They haven't made billions of dollars like he has, but they make a really, really good living off of 100 or 200,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel. Where that's a good job and that's a good business for a lot of people. And speaking of somebody that, isn't really super famous but very successful, Russell Brunson, who is from ClickFunnels. So that's a company that I wasn't super familiar with, but that's where you went this week was Funnel Hacking Live, which is put on by ClickFunnels, and Russell Brunson is the entrepreneur behind ClickFunnels, and it's a really, really cool story.
He, so just kind of go through a little bit
please.
of a couple of the slides that we built out and such. It's a good time to get into that. Russell, actually, it's funny, is the size of the company. Going back to his origin story, is he was a wrestler in college. He just got married. He's a sophomore in college. And because of his agreement with college, he can't have a job. He only can wrestle. So it was one spring break. He just got married. Him and his wife and another couple were sitting back in their apartment. Couldn't really do anything fun. They had no money. And then all of a sudden they saw something on about potato guns, and they're like, "Oh, let's make a potato gun." Like, how do we make a potato gun? I don't know. So they looked up, they Googled how to make a potato gun, and they had some fun over spring break making a potato gun. Built out this potato gun, and once they figured out, they watched so many videos on it, they felt like, man, I think we become experts basically on building potato guns.
Right.
So he was always trying to sell something, be an entrepreneur by heart, and he says, what if we make.
And I was just going to say, so one of his things, I don't want to interrupt you. You had a pretty good flow going there, but one of the things that that you'll see if you decide to watch this Funnel Hacking Live video is he talks about being an entrepreneur by birth and a funnel hacker by choice. So he is an entrepreneur by birth, just like how I feel I am. I remember when I was in junior high school, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So it's like, I think there's a calling for people that want to be an entrepreneur. So anyways, he is that, right? So potato gun. He decides he wants to take this idea of a potato gun, and tell me more.
So him and his friend that built these guns, they said once they went back to school after spring break, they decided to take a video camera, go to Home Depot, and record themselves getting the parts. Well, what happened the first time they went there, Home Depot asked them, "What are you guys doing?" "Oh, we're making a video on how to build a potato gun." And they're just like, "Oh, you can't do that here." So they got kicked out of that Home Depot. Went to the next Home Depot, other side of town, put their camera underneath their coat, kind of did it stealthy, and then pulled out when they were like, "Okay, this is the pipes we're buying. This is the charcoal or the grill igniter," and they were talking about the ratio from the chamber to the barrel, and how they
really
make it.
Geeking out on
totally geeking out. And they're like, "This is our favorite propellant." And then they said, "We're doing it all while still telling people how to be safe by building this potato gun." And if you ever shot a potato gun, maybe we can roll a little potato gun footage. It's so cool. Actually, Dwayne Johansson had one upstairs of the old dealership at Sutherland.
Doesn't surprise me.
Found it, and we're shooting across the dealership parking lot one day, shoving potatoes in there and hairspray, and bam, you hit it's a grill igniter, just a little click, 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 and boom, that thing shoots like, a good, couple hundred feet, man, maybe, almost a football field if you, depending on, if you had the right sizes and everything like that. But it's crazy, little potatoes shoot that far. So he built this thing. He created he wanted to make a video. He got a DVD. They put DVDs together, and they were selling DVDs on how to do this. Started out making $20-$30. He's more money than he was making at the time with no job in college. His wife was the breadwinner, and he was just wrestling in college. And that actually had started him on the path on, hey, I want to sell things online. And that was like in 2003, I think it was. He discovered that whole path of 2002, 2003, and got into that. And then he's built this incredible empire of 100,000 users use ClickFunnels.
And so taking one step back so we can take a couple steps forward. What is ClickFunnels? ClickFunnels is a entrepreneur website platform to help build online businesses. I went and so this morning prior to recording, I did a little bit of research on ClickFunnels. I was kind of aware of it because you've mentioned it over the last few months, maybe last year, the first time I heard about it, but really didn't have a good understanding of the size and the scale, the scale of this company. It is absolutely amazing what he's been able to build. So you mentioned 100,000 users. Now that might that might be an impressive number. It might not be an impressive number, but when you realize that, I don't know what the average cost is, but it's probably around $200 to $300.
It's a subscription base.
Yes.
You pay monthly for. You can cancel
So 100,000 subscribers. That's paying anywhere between 100 and 1,500.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe if their average is $300, that's $30 million a month.
Just in subscribers,
just
plus
in subscription
events,
revenue.
plus
Yes.
he sells books. He wrote .com Secrets a couple years ago.
And he had another book out too.
Expert Secrets. And then coming out is actually Traffic Secrets. So it was a trilogy of books that he wrote. Traffic Secrets comes out May 18th. So to a Barnes & Noble or Amazon near you. But no, it's Traffic Secrets. So he did this trilogy of like, .com Secrets is like, hey, you need to sell online. Expert Secrets is you need to be an expert, like David and I are experts in this podcast, Modern Dealer podcast area. And then it talks about how to drive traffic with Traffic Secrets. And, he wrote these 3 books. He's got all these users, him, and there's a co-founder too that he was telling the story how him and Jason Dickerson had built a company, or Todd Dickerson, I'm sorry, had built a company, and that he had actually bought a website, and it was in code that nobody knew how to use. I can't remember the name of the coding, and
Ruby on Rails.
Yep, that's what it was. Ruby on Wheels.
Yeah, Rails.
Yep. Ruby on Rails. So there only one other person he found, and he was emailing, asking people, and one person responded, and it was Todd Dickerson saying, I know how to use Ruby on Rails. Yep. And he went and he goes, I went in there and fixed a bunch of things and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh man, well, why'd you use this when we can just build our own? So those two launched that in 2014. They got together and started building out ClickFunnels. And when they first launched it, they had in the first year 20,000 or 10,000 users in the first year. I mean, just from
and
people
built just a massive following, and that's what brought you to travel this week. You went to the is it the 5th annual?
5th one, yeah.
Okay, so 5th annual
for a young company. The company,
it's amazing.
It's only 5 years old.
Yeah. So ClickFunnels, it's a website platform that you can subscribe to that gives you the ability to create online businesses. So as I'm kind of doing the research, there's no real easy way to really just understand what ClickFunnels is. You really kind of have to get immersed in the into the platform. And to me, there's so much video content around the education on what ClickFunnels is. It really is, very fantastic. One of the things that we talked about in the the unrecorded version is, the production of the Modern Dealer podcast. That takes a lot of effort to produce this, even though we record it live and we just kind of start and stop. There is a lot of effort that goes into the production, and I think you can see the 2 cameras, and you can see like the bottom third, the animation, and some of the funny stuff with the video content,
stuff
and
going across.
the coffee cups that was
bing,
on
bing,
the
bing, bing. Last week, 16
last
cups
episode.
of coffee.
Yeah.
He wants to live to 112. I hope so.
But I think that's one of the things that they do super well is to be able to utilize video. Another thing that we talked about too is the YouTube platform, how underutilized it is by dealers, and maybe we'll hold that conversation until our second segment about YouTube, but the video content is absolutely fantastic. So ClickFunnels is an entrepreneurial website platform to help build online businesses. You can build squeeze pages, you can build other ClickFunnels. I mean, I think that's why they call it what it is. I mean, it's a way to create to guide an online sales process for consumers coming to come through the website, right?
So to give you an example, if you look at your dealership's website, I'm on dealers' websites all the time. And when I was in Nashville, I was checking out dealerships' websites.
Yeah.
And they're extremely, somebody just wants a quick piece of information, it can be extremely confusing. If you're trying to put out an offer, you try to put it on your homepage and such. What ClickFunnels utilizes is It's just basically a one function offer. So if you're trying to, hey, this weekend we want to have a sale. We want to have a sale that we're going to pay, $4,000 over Kelley Blue Book, right? So you would actually create a landing page, and it's a way to create a landing page or a one-time offer.
Right.
We do that at Entice, very similar. So you can create an offer, and the customer has no other place to go to, not the About Me page or your inventory or anything like that. It's just one place to go, and it's like name, address, phone number. Click here to get your special invitation to a sale. So as a dealer, you could use things like this, landing pages, lead generation pages, because Entice similar use something like like a landing page and a ClickFunnels to guide a customer to do one single thing, and that's just like, hey, name. We're trying to capture a lead. They're excellent at capturing leads, and then of course up to do what to do with it. What your store wants to do with that lead. Hopefully, get them in a store and sell them a car. Is the whole point of it. But or schedule an appointment for a test drive, or come in and do credit application, or whatever one specific action you want the customer to do. Because a lot of customers will bounce out because you have so many things happening on your website, and that's why a landing page that looks just like your website is a much cleaner function. A one thing, just do this one thing.
So one of the things that I thought was pretty cool when I was going through and learning about ClickFunnels on the ClickFunnels website, which I did sign up for, and I actually built out a sample, which I'll share with you, a sample page to really, because I wanted to be able to experience myself, to be able to share my experience. So, but what I thought was really cool is they shared a lot of success stories from people that are ClickFunnels users that have built businesses utilizing the technology. And some of the things that people said in these success stories, in trying to describe what ClickFunnels is ClickFunnels create experiences where websites do not. Websites are more like a static representation of your dealership or of your business, where ClickFunnels allow you to create experiences that guide your visitors step by step through the entire sales process. So if you are selling a vehicle, you are selling a coffee cup, you're selling any product, a pen, whatever it is, you're going to be able to guide your customers through step by step of the entire sales process, really, so they don't get confused or they get lost, and then ultimately leave your site. So you brought up Entice a couple times, and of course I'm thinking about, well, that's very similar to what we try to do with the Entice technology. Is we try to create experiences that allow customers to complete whatever task that they want to as part of the online or the vehicle purchase in the online experiences. So, it's almost like Entice kind of has a very similar goal to be able to create these experiences, but we do it right on the dealership's website. So when a customer arrives at your site, we're able to funnel them through the process. So, again, a little mini commercial for Entice. So through our lead maker technology, we're going to funnel the customer through the process to be able to schedule an express test drive at the dealership. Through our loan maker technology, we're going to be able to funnel the customer through the process of getting their credit score, then giving them the opportunity to complete a full credit application online. Through Trade Maker, they can get their trade value, and then we funnel that customer through vehicle selection and appointment scheduling at the dealership. So, from a technology standpoint, from an ideology standpoint, we offer very similar tools. And I have kind of a kinship to what they're doing. They're just doing it on such a larger scale than we are, even though we're an older company than they are. And kudos to him. So again, we look back at, look back at this guy. I mean, he's super impressive.
40 years old too. Just turned 40.
Just turned 40. Yeah. So he's 10 years younger than I am.
Right.
And 100,000 users, $4.4 billion in processed transactions on the ClickFunnels platform. People like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziano, Grant Cardone utilize these. There's a great Grant Cardone video embedded in the Funnel Hacking Live video if you sit back and watch it, which we will hook up with a link to his keynote, Russell Brunson's keynote at the event that you went through. But I mean, just amazing statistics. So I don't want to continue to go on and on and on. I want to kind of get your feedback a little bit too here on some of the different things that you experienced. And actually, before we do that, we're already 26 minutes into the first segment. We're kind of going crazy here.
Well, the good news, David, is this time we actually recorded it.
Yes.
the last 22 minutes we did, we're like, oh no, we didn't hit record, but that's okay. We still had fun, man. We're here. But the good news is, since we did hit record, that means that people can actually like this.
Yep.
They can subscribe to it, they can share it, and if they turn on notifications,
Ding.
they will actually be alerted every time we drop new content. Basically, we drop new content Thursday, Friday, because we're here recording Monday, Tuesday of the week. So what you're getting is fresh new content. So like I said, make sure you turn on those notifications, and you'll get the latest and greatest.
Yep.
And
so don't go away. Make sure that you come back to the second segment. We're going to get into underutilization of the YouTube platform. We're going to learn a little bit more about Russell Brunson's success story and a little bit more of what it would look like to build a landing page inside the ClickFunnels technology, with an example of what that I just kind of built out this morning to get an example. So stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Thanks.
Applying for a car loan should be easy. Say hello to Finance Express, the way car loans should be. With Finance Express, you can get pre-qualified for financing and even get your credit score without providing your social security number or date of birth, all in less than 60 seconds. Finance Express uses a soft credit pull which never impacts your credit or shows as an inquiry. You can save time at the dealership by completing an express credit application right here. Enjoy a better way to finance a car with Finance Express.
All right, so welcome back into the second segment of the Modern Dealer, second segment of episode 32 of the Modern Dealer podcast. As you can see, coming to you from the MDP studios. And the reason I'm doing this on a selfie video is I just wanted to share with you that, really I have been inspired by the ClickFunnels platform and some of the videos that I've watched this morning. And you can see right here, we got the MDP studios over here, and then I got a whiteboard right here, and I went through some of his videos, and it was very enlightening. It created a lot of ideas of what I can do for my company and you can do for your company to inspire people to engage with your dealership. So very motivational. You can see I just wanted to share the whiteboard in the office. We got the tear sheets here. I kind of have all over the place.
Framework. Actually, he's got the framework built out for basically enable to engage more clients to bring into bring more business. So kind of cool stuff there, because you do have to have a plan when putting together a couple things there, and I love the takeaways of the framework. Great job, David.
Yeah, thank you much. So when you check out the ClickFunnels videos on ClickFunnels.com, you'll see the framework that they're talking about. And I think that's something that you can definitely apply to your business. So anyways, we are going to come back here. Now we are set with the Modern Dealer Podcast, episode 032. Part 2, talking about ClickFunnels. So let's get back into it. So what else? Guide people through the experience. Funnels create experiences where websites do not. Let's see. All right, so we're kind of all over the place here this morning. Okay, so one of the things that I thought was really cool too is they had a year in review video for 2019, and they talk about the 2 Comma Club winners, and they talk about the 2 Comma Club X winners. So to put this in context, one of the things that I saw with ClickFunnels is that it's a way of life. It is kind of like it's kind of like a cult. I mean, it's kind of like a very engaged group. What it really reminds me of, something that I was exposed to 30 years ago was Amway, right? The network marketing. And what was kind of cool about that is just all the excitement that that you have and you get from these events. And that's kind of what I felt this was. Not trying to minimize what ClickFunnels is, because I think it's super cool that you have a group of entrepreneurs that really feel a kinship with each other and being able to reach out and go to these type of events, right?
So many different backgrounds for all these people. So there was doctors that stood up and said, hey, they're a doctor, but they're still an entrepreneur at the same time. And one doctor said, what I'm using ClickFunnels for is I want to take 18,000 people in 2020 and I want to reverse their diabetes. Yeah. How they're going to reverse the diabetes is he has a 21-day challenge that he has as a funnel on ClickFunnels.
Awesome.
And people subscribe to that. They buy the subscription of his 21-day challenge. They take the challenge, and he's hoping that he'll get at least 18,000 people to change their lives. And then, of course, he wants to 10x that next year and do 180,000. He wants to get to 1 million people changing their lives. Doctor from Columbia. So many different professions. There was a professional world champion rodeo cowboy there, that he was wearing his cowboy hat and he had his shirt on and everything. And he said he actually had built a funnel to teach youth on how to become, professional rodeo riders. Yeah. And he was in Texas, and he's like, we're doing like $10,000 a month in revenue. He wants to build that up, but realistically, he was so genuine. It's like, I just want to help kids get into the rodeo business. Yep. And those people are interested in just so many different types of backgrounds. As a dealer, the way I saw this was learning so much from all this social media strategists that were there that built a big thing. What I didn't share with you was one of the speakers that was a surprise speaker, because I have a event guide of all the speakers that spoke, but then there were some people that weren't on the event guide. It was like surprise speaker. They brought out 5 surprise speakers, and one of them was my neighbor.
Wow.
So, and I'll give you, because I live in downtown
cool.
St. Pete. Yep. So, young 18-year-old Caleb Maddox had created Apex for Kids. Okay. So, Apex for Kids is basically, it's a parenting platform, and you get content once a week on how to better parent your 7 to 17-year-old. Now, his dad, Matt Maddox, both him and his dad lived in my building. He is a publisher, it's Maddox Publishing. So he had actually helped publish Caleb's books. He published 2 books before he was 18 years old.
Wow, that's impressive.
On basically, just how to be a better kid, just like, he wanted to help other kids to be like a more outgoing entrepreneurial kids. He made, when he was 14, he made $100,000 in ClickFunnels off of one of his book sales. And Caleb is actually in the 2 Comma Club, because I have a list of all those, and we can show a little bit of the video and stuff like that he got his award for the 2 Comma Club. But Caleb Maddox on the top right there, Apex for Kids, him and Ryan O'Donnell. What they did was they built that, and they created a subscription for $7 a month. Basically $7 a month you get that. But in 48 hours, when he had built the funnel and he put some paid traffic on Facebook behind it, guess how many subscribers he got in 48 hours? 5,000 subscribers. Wow. So 5,000 times 7, that's $35,000 a month on recurring revenue. Wow. He actually made from that funnel, he made over $1 million, almost to 2 Comma Club. 2 Comma Club, 2 Comma X would have made over $10 million on one funnel.
Yeah, so
on one funnel.
Yeah, it's absolutely spectacular and amazing. And to kind of put that into context, so they have this thing inside the ClickFunnels organization where they have a 2 Comma Club. So that's everybody, you look at $1 million There's 2 commas in the $1 million. That's why they call it the 2 comma club. And when I was looking at and watching the year in review video, they said that they announced 626 2 comma club winners within the group, and they had 42 2 comma club X, which is 10 times. So it's a $10 million revenue, 42 people. So that's pretty fantastic.
Well, it goes beyond that. So what you did not see, which was only at the event, was 2 comma club C.
Okay.
So they did $100 million
on the ClickFunnels platform.
Yeah, on the ClickFunnels platform, but off of one funnel. One funnel that they made, and there was 2 which did the $100 million. Some guys did $25 million. $50 million, because they had it in $25 million increments. One was, the lowest of the 2 comma club C was $25 million, $50 million, $75 million, and 2 people made it to over $100 million. In 1 year. That's in 2019.
So I took a bunch of notes as I was sitting down. It's like a 2-hour keynote video, and I just took a bunch of notes. And one of the things that I thought was really, really cool and kind of near and dear to my heart is the idea of building a business without doing it from a bootstrap standpoint. And he talks about that a lot is, there's businesses out there that are going out and raising money, and their whole end game is just to flip the company, right, to sell it to somebody else.
Yep.
But really, this is, as he describes it, an underground group of entrepreneurs trying to really build businesses for good, right? So a lot of people like myself, we don't have the ability to go out and just raise millions and millions of dollars to invest and build a business. It's something you have to do over time, and you have to be successful at it. You have to be profitable. You have to reinvest the money that you earn. And so, here's a group of 5,000 of these entrepreneurs that goes to an event, which is only 5% of the entire group of people within the organization. So that's very cool. How much support. Now, let's look at what else is available within that ClickFunnels universe, right? So now you've been involved with this company for some time, and you've been a paid subscriber, and you've utilized the technology and the platform. But in addition to just providing the technology to build ClickFunnels, there's so much more, right?
It's hours and hours, and there's so much to it. There's a lot of.
So one of the things that you were showing me earlier is they have the funnel. What is it? Their video platform?
Funnelflix, like
Funnel
Netflix,
Flix.
but it actually got a shirt too. It said Funnelflix and Chill, and instead of Netflix and Chill, it was Funnelflix and Build.
Okay,
building
cool.
building
that's
funnels
great.
and stuff like that. So
it's educational content, it's coaching content, it's how it's entrepreneurial stories and journeys being shared on the platform.
And as a dealer, it's nice to hear about other industries that are building it, and it actually just makes you kind of look at your own dealership and think like, how can I take this episode 032 and apply it to my store? And one of the biggest things I got out of it that I wanted to share, there was 13 speakers. One speaker I want to focus on was Marley Jaxx, and what she was a video marketing and YouTube. She works with people like Damon John from Shark Tank.
Okay, cool.
She is she works with LinkedIn. She actually shot and helped LinkedIn build all their video training. She's got a little secret sauce. Her secret sauce was how to make, and a dealer can use this. This is going to be one of the takeaways here. Was to build 6 months of content in 3 days. So basically mapping out everything that you're going to talk about, the bullet points and everything like that. Not writing entire scripts because, hey, you're going to improv a couple things, but this may be 6 months of content that are basically 1-minute videos that you can take a 1-minute video. You can break it up just like the Modern Dealer podcast. We can break it up into little segments, use little teaser pieces on LinkedIn. We can use little pieces on Facebook. We use little pieces on Instagram. You, like Gary Vee says, put out 100 pieces of content a day. And where a lot of dealerships fail, as I mentioned earlier on take one or take subject too, is a lot of dealers turn this over to their marketing agency. And it's just like I said, hey, I want to get in shape and go to the gym, and I want to do all the, I want to be big, I want to get in shape and I want to lose weight. And that's like saying like, okay, well, have your marketing agency go to the gym for you. It doesn't work that way. You have to put in the organic content work, put it out there. You put out enough information, give people enough free information, they're going to recognize you as like, hey, these guys are not so bad. They're very personable. You see faces, not just cars, because where a lot of people make a mistake at is just putting the cars out there. But she works with all these different companies. I thought she would be somebody great for dealership to, she has a course. You can go to marleyjaxx.com and you will find her course out there that you can actually purchase. She's got a 21-day challenge coming up. I think it starts February 10th or something like that. It's a 21-day challenge on how to be able to get your YouTube channel up and going. And how to do a lot of batching, which we're going to do a little bit of batching, I think, when we head out to Vegas there, because it'll be a good opportunity. She talks about she brings like a change of shirts, because she'll change her shirt a couple times to make it look like there was a whole bunch of different videos that were shot. And it was really, she'll wear the same for a couple videos and she'll change, and just simple little tips like that, mapping and planning out your content strategically. So I thought that was definitely something awesome, a good takeaway from there. But I mean, so many just amazing people that were there, people that are doing Amazon, Amazon resellers, copywriters, realtors, media buyers, alcoholic and addiction. There was somebody there that basically started, they sold their book, The Naked Brain, on just talking about addiction and, using a funnel. She sold, self-published and sold like a couple 100,000 copies of her book.
So I think that really brings up some great ideas around different career paths. So one of the things that we like to talk about here on the Modern Dealer Podcast is appealing to Gen Z, millennials, bringing them into the car business. I've always thought and always strained to the fact that salespeople that are coming into the business or have been in the business for a long time are entrepreneurs. You're giving them an entrepreneurial platform to be successful, and utilizing social media, utilizing YouTube, so they can build their personal brand is how they're going to go from an 8-car a salesperson to an 18-car person to an 80-car person if they have the capacity to be able to do that. But it's the platform that you're giving them as a dealer. So I think anybody that's probably watching this, I think whether you're an employee of a dealership or if you're a dealer yourself, you have that as Russell Brunson calls the call to contribution. That's what they call it, right? Call to contribution as an entrepreneur. And that's something that back when I was in junior high, I look back at, some of my goals. I remember writing out my goals as a part of a class project, and I still have this little card where we created a card on, where we saw ourselves, what our goals were. And my very first top goal was, I want to be an entrepreneur. My second goal is I want to make $1 million before 35, which was another thing that was kind of cool on one of the videos I was watching. Is he had a big sign that says, $1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool?
$1 billion. And of course we know that's from, what was that from?
Social Network.
Social Network, there with Justin Timberlake, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, he was in that movie, which, inspired a lot of people. And then once everybody saw, they're like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to.
Yeah, now it's a cool thing, right?
Yeah, like Gary Vee said, growing up, it wasn't a cool thing years ago. It was just like, oh, when you and I were growing up, the path was, you do good in school, go to good college, get a job, somewhere, and get married and retire and die. And that's basically the path nowadays. There's a different path that one can choose. And I didn't choose college, but I actually, the military, Navy and the car business was my educational experience, what I have in my background, but experience does crush a piece of paper. Anytime.
Absolutely. And I think the landscape has completely changed on what different career paths you can have. From, we were talking about this, I don't know if it was the first time we recorded that we threw away, or maybe it would even part of the segment, the first segment, but we were talking about how people now can leverage YouTube to build a good-sized business, a successful business, without having to be a bazillionaire, right? Where you get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, you have a very good business. If we talked about esports as well. That's something that Gary Vee is, doubling down on from an investment standpoint. Is esports is a huge opportunity for people as a career path to become successful, and you don't have to necessarily be Justin Timberlake or Justin Bieber as far as a success level. You can be. 100,000 subscribers. Yeah. I mean, it's a successful business, right? Yeah.
You could be me with my review videos, which, just people stumble across and, here it is 20,000 views later from a long tail review video about a Toyota Corolla. And people are sending me messages every day. I get comments every day on one particular video that like, oh man, the Corolla's a tank, and just, I engage with them. And because of my engagement, it keeps it relevant. And it keeps showing up and it pops up on searches. And I'm thinking now I'm like possibly trending on searches based upon if you start to type in Toyota Corolla. I mean, I pop up.
It's very cool. Very cool. Another story that we were talking about is somebody that you had met during the Funnel Hacker Live event.
Julius Dein. Yep. He is a magician from London. Speaks with a very thick, European or British accent. And it was so cool. He became YouTube famous. He had, he was just fighting for subscribers.
850,000 subscribers?
850,000 subscribers now, but he started out before he caught fire, he started out with he started out with zero. Everybody starts at zero, but he got up to 3,000 subscribers and he kept trying to collab with and, hey, will you please share my stuff? I'm a magician from London. He went to so many different pages. He said he went to like thousands of pages and it was like KFC, it was like 10,000 people he had to try. He finally got to one and they actually reposted a video and you may probably show the video, but it was somebody pulling out a suitcase and like he was still sitting and it looked like he's just floating in air and people are like feeling underneath him like, well, there's no strings holding him up. How's he sitting like he's still sitting on a suitcase and there's nothing underneath him? That went viral and he went from 3,000 subscribers overnight to 30,000 subscribers. Wow. And then into the, once he hit 100,000, he says it just kept clicking up to like the next 100, next 100, next 100. Just it started to come fast and he just kept on putting out more stuff. He did there's a video of him and Drake on there. Wow. There's a video of him and, there's a lot of famous people that he had paired up with, but all from YouTube. There was another YouTuber there, Prince EA. He's got 3 billion with a B views on YouTube. His name is Prince EA. He does all these inspirational, motivational videos. He wanted to be a rapper and then quit rapping and then came back to it and he decided that, I need to do videos and I need to do stuff
here's
for
a guy
the people.
that is, of course he's going to be famous within his group of people, but he's not famous to, I've never heard of the guy, but he's probably super successful and he's built a very good business and a very big following and he's earning a big income just from YouTube.
Yep. And like I said, I never heard of him either until I got right there. Yeah.
That's very cool.
And he built this huge, massive following and he just went viral.
I love it.
He actually did a video about bosses and leaders that they showed there. And that was only 4 days ago and it's got 350,000 views in 4 days.
So what's really cool is, so we're on episode 032 and we're just at the infancy stage. We're working on building our subscriber base. And right now, we're not monetized or anything like that. But what the cool thing is I think that it is the idea of having that call to contribution. So we're actually contributing to the automotive community in a very, 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 very small way right now. But we get to build every single week. We get more people that's engaged. Reminds me of a quick story I was telling earlier, is where I started communicating with somebody based on a post that he had on LinkedIn, made a nice comment because I thought it was great content on how a salesperson is utilizing YouTube to create his own personal brand, and he's sharing that information on LinkedIn. I made a quick comment. We've had a couple back and forths. We're going to have him on as a guest in the upcoming weeks. But here's somebody that's making the effort effort, putting the work in, creating the content, sharing it with the goal to build his personal brand within, his small community. And it's exactly what we're doing. We're doing it in a very small way, and our goal is to add value. So very, very, very exciting to be part of the Modern Dealer podcast. We appreciate everybody's view. I know we sent it earlier, but if you are watching this, please do us a favor, subscribe. That's something that we can do to build our awareness and to be able to get this podcast in front of other people. So we do appreciate every view. So we're 22 minutes in. Is there anything else that you thought is worth sharing? There's just so much stuff, right?
So much stuff. I mean, there was so many speakers, 13 speakers, and then additional, probably surprise, 10 more speakers that kind of got dropped in here and there.
Tony Robbins?
Tony Robbins, yes. So let's talk about Tony Robbins. So as you saw on my Facebook post, you saw that I was within probably hand reach distance from Tony Robbins because I got front row.
He is a big dude.
6'7", man, big old dude, and
his shoulders are like that.
He's got
head
big old.
Like that.
Yeah. And if you saw that movie, you got to show the little clip of Shallow Hal.
Yeah,
when he was in that movie, that's
so funny.
That's what
Jack Black.
Yeah, with Jack Black. That's what introduced me to Tony Robbins because that movie came out in 2001.
No, gosh,
it's 19 years old, that movie.
Yeah.
And he was in there, and he's the one that put the hypnosis on Jack Black for him to see the world in a different way and to see what people were good for. And he saw what was her name, the female actress, the blonde. Gwyneth Paltrow,
right?
Yep. That you saw her different than what she really was.
Yep.
But anyhow, so Tony Robbins was a keynote speaker.
So just real quick, I go back with Tony Robbins back into the 90s, early 90s, Personal Power. So, the cassette tapes, the Personal Power program, 30 days. Yep. Fantastic program. I think I attribute a lot of my success from what I learned from Tony Robbins and the Personal Power, Unleash the Power. I noticed you just within.
Yes.
I went to a UWP program 10 years ago.
Man. Yep.
I did the Firewalk experience. I did the whole thing. Yep.
I'm going in June.
Ooh, good for you, man. That's very
good.
good.
Chicago in June to go do the UWP. There was a lot of people there at Funnel Hacking, which had gone to it.
Sorry.
Unleash the Power. Yes.
Within. Yep.
Yeah, Unleash the Power Within, which there's a lot of people which had gone to it. They've gone to 3 of them.
Yeah.
He's addicting, man. And you go once, you got to go again. Yep. But the message he was bringing was really just deep thought. We could spend hours on Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
But he was the closer, the keynote speaker. He was up there for 3 hours and 45 minutes on just no bathroom break or nothing, man. Just 3 hours and 45 minutes of straight delivery. They had people doing sign language. They had 4 different people switching to do sign language to translate the whole thing and sign, because that's how long my man went. You had to have a relief. You had to have an opener, a closer, a relief pitcher.
Yeah, he's just a beast when it comes to speaking. And
59 years old. He's going to be 60.
Wow.
Ready for this? February 29th, born on a leap year.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, so he was talking about just appreciating life. He almost died last year. I didn't know if you knew that.
No.
He got mercury poisoning from swordfish.
Oh my gosh.
So he was telling the story that he was like, I almost died in 2019 from mercury poisoning, and just kind of made him reevaluate everything.
Yeah.
But he closed out the whole event. It was exciting. We'll show a little video. I'll play the video. I shot a little 15-second video of
I hadn't seen that yet. So
he was. I don't think I posted, but he was literally so close to me that he was behind me, and I was in the front row.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
I remember when I was at the Unleash the Power workshop. He walks and he interacts with the group, and he walked by me. So I could have reached out and touched him. That's how close he could be. But he is, he's like a horse. He's huge.
6'7".
Yeah.
That guy's just, he could have played basketball, but I think he's made more.
He's
billions.
Yeah,
he's
unbelievable. He's really fantastic. Yeah. Hey, so one of the things that I thought was cool about the way that he delivers content, Russell Brunson is a highly motivated speaker as well. Not just a motivational speaker, like down by the river or whatever, the guy from Saturday Night Live, but he is. He is a beast. I mean, he is a great communicator, and he has a lot of information to share. And that's one of the things that I mean, it's like drinking from a fire hose watching some of his videos. It's like your mind just kind of goes all over the place. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, right?
He did describe the first time I saw him as like drinking from a fire hydrant. But actually, so Tony Robbins reached out to Russell Brunson and also with Dean Gracio. Russell was handpicked from these guys that have been around for 40 years, 20 years. So like, hey, you are the next, influencer, world influencer. Yeah. And they reached out and they partnered with him. And they said, Tony Robbins said, look, I haven't done anything. I haven't written a book in 10 years, 15 years. I picked Russell Brunson because the guy is amazing, an amazing marketer with the ClickFunnels platform and everything like that. But I know we're getting 27 minutes into it there. Yeah. We're running a little skinny on time. We might be able to cover Bert's three tips. Are we there?
3 tips. Absolutely. What do you got? All right.
So my 3 tips, ding, and dong. Content batching on YouTube. I thought Marley Jaxx was a really good thing to do, is to plan out your content way in advance and ahead of time, so you got something to talk about, something to put out there. Hey, you may not get a view, you may get 1,000 views, but at least put some content out there. Use of landing pages, and that's what ClickFunnels is basically a landing page to have a customer do one specific function, either using the Entice platform or using whichever platform you need to get to that one function you want your customer to do, and building a personal brand. You are a dealer, but you may go to another dealership, and I've heard of many guys, I work with dealers, and I see you're a GM at the Toyota store one day and you're at the Hyundai store the next day. So who knows where you go, but you might want to bring your peeps with you, your following. You might move across country, and it's good to have your own brand. So you don't need a resume when you are a brand. They know who you are. It's like, who are you? Check my YouTube.
Yep.
That's all I gotta say about that.
Absolutely cool. So, exciting episode. I'm interested in learning more about the ClickFunnels platform. I signed up for it. I'll share this right here, the landing page that I created. Just kind of real quick, they show that it is super easy to build out, and a lot of the things that they say is like anybody can do it. It's super simple. I don't know if it's that super simple, at least my first experience, but it wasn't hard. You put a little bit of effort into it, but I think really what is more important than the technology platform itself is really a lot of the ideology around the idea of what they're selling, with the training and the kinship with all the other entrepreneurs. Very motivating, very exciting to kind of sit through. So definitely recommend that you check out Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. And thank you, David, for sharing the information. And I know that there's an investment going out to be able to participate in Funnel Hacking Live. So I don't have anything else to cover. I don't think you have anything else to cover. We're very close. So for David
and David,
that's a wrap.
You know what, David? You get murdered first for once.